Science fiction addict here. What is the difference between the B10 battleship and the C8 Dreadnought for the Klingons? Well, the first thing that you can notice right away is these colorful weapons here on the B10 battleship on the left. Those are stasis field generators that will place an enemy ship in a frozen bubble of time. The second thing you'll notice is the B10 has 4 warp nacelles, where the C8 Dreadnought only has 3. They do, of course, look very similar other than that. But looks can be deceiving. The B10 has an additional set of disruptors on the rear of the ship, and has anti-drone guns on the bottom rear. But other than that, it looks fairly similar. But again, if we look at the back, and we'll zoom in here a little bit, we can see that the height of the C8 is less than that of the B10. So the back section of the B10 has probably got about 50% or 60% more height. And if we look at the wings, you can see that the C8, while beefy, is not as beefy as the B10's wing. So again, more internal volume for things like power plants or cores. Now the impulse deck on the back is very similar. Just a little bit more length on the B10, but not by much. Probably about 20%. The bridge, auxiliary control, emergency bridge, flag bridge, etc. for both ships is essentially the same. The B10, of course, has a lot more phasers. And on the C8, the anti-drone gun is mounted on the neck. But when we look here at the underbelly, for the third warp nacelle, there is an observation deck section here on the C8, but it's much smaller. Than the one here on the B11. Now when we look at the command module, the ball at the front of the head, the C8 appears to be much wider. It isn't. If you compare this to one on the heavy battlecruiser or the heavy cruiser, it is twice as wide. But here it is the same width as the B10. But it looks like the B10 is smaller, but it's not. If we take the B10, let's get out of rendered mode here. If we grab the neck on the Klingon, and move it over, we can see that the B10 is twice the height, but it is still the same width. Now, of course, what the B11 has done, or sorry, the B10, what the B10 has done versus the C8 is it's used a lot of that internal volume for more weapons. Or rather, for the power plants for those weapons. So, 3 phasers on the wings, 5 phasers on the wings. The C8 Dreadnought has got 6 disruptors, where the B10 has 10 disruptors. Perhaps part of the reason for the name of the ship, B10. Blow them away with 10 disruptors. Now, I've accidentally called the B10 the B11, and, well, that's for good reason, because the B10 is the B11. It just has been turned into a carrier and a PF tender, or rather what they call a super space control ship. So they give up some of the internal space that they've gained from going from the C8 to the B10. When they go to the B11, they turn some of that crew quarters and lab area and every nook and cranny they can into cramming in the space for a fighter deck and for mech links for towing fast patrol ships, PFs. But beyond that, the B10 and the B11 are very similar ships. They are the same hull. And there you have the difference between the B11 battleship and the C8 Dreadnought. At first glance, they may look like the same ship, but they are definitely not. That's it for this video. Have fun playing Starfleet Battles.